Is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Shared Screens Elite Four, the only Pokemon specific show here on Shared Screens. Now, today it is an Elite Three because Chris, we're not sure what happened to him. Our biggest theory right now, he's walking down Route One, bit in the eyes by a couple of Ekans.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it was tragic, absolutely tragic.
Mm-hmm.
Does Team Rocket have something to do with
Terrible.
it? Probably. They've caused a lot of horrible tragedies.
Mm-hmm.
Joining me today is Austin Ernst and
Hello.
Alec Bobko. How's everyone doing?
Hello.
Doing good. Doing good. There are some conversations before the podcast that Austin and I are just
It was my fault.
You know.
It was
All
my
I'm saying,
fault.
man. I'm saying.
I started it.
Can
Yep.
Torch Song melt steel beams?
I had to realize who I was talking to and realize that I was walking into a trap, and I didn't. It's my fault.
Yes, of course.
in the world will never know.
Hopefully.
This is going to be another episode of The Road to Victory, our podcast within a podcast where we look for people's dream Pokemon game and try to answer the question of, is there a perfect Pokemon game? What is the perfect Pokemon game? But more specifically, what is that to you, the fans? Now, as always, we have Pokemon Icebreakers, and I'm doing something a little fun, a little something new today, something we've never done before. Because this is a new show and I can do what I want, so fuck you.
Dylan.
Taking the reins.
But since we last recorded, we've had one, maybe two pieces of news come out. I forget which one came out first, but we'll talk about the bigger one, or about when each came out. I know which one came out first, but we'll talk about the bigger one, which is we finally have a date for the premiere of Pokemon Horizons in the United States. And it's worse than I thought it would be because it is coming out. I don't have the exact date actually, but sometime in February. I want to say February 23rd or something like that. And so now issues with how long it takes the dub to get here aside, I want to know, are you guys going to check out Pokemon Horizons? Does this seem like, this is the first anime without Ash, so while, of course, every series kind of let us start over with Ash without having to know what happened before, there was kind of a continuity there. This is a brand new one. They've shown trailers. I mean, it's been coming out in Japan for the past year, so for all I know, maybe you guys are keeping up with the subs, and I have no idea. But are you guys going to be checking out Pokemon Horizons? Does it look interesting to you?
This is the one that's on Netflix, right?
So all of Pokemon, like Pokemon Journeys and stuff, like with Ash winning the Master, that's all on Netflix. Netflix has the rights to Pokemon. Like a lot of the newer movies are on there.
Gotcha.
So if you're like, this is the actual mainstream anime. This is not, which is the kind of other thing I was going to talk about. Pokemon Concierge, which is the stop motion one coming to Netflix. This December 28th, actually.
Only reason I was asking because I do not have Netflix anymore. So if it's on Netflix, that's a no-go for me.
For me personally, I'm definitely probably on the let me wait until I hear people talk about it type of deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I haven't watched the anime in ages. It's been a minute, and even when Jordan was like pleading for us to watch it when it was coming up to Ash's like swan song, essentially, I still didn't watch it.
I still highly recommend everybody.
It's
watch
probably great
all through Journeys. Maybe find episodes like that are filler that you could skip because I just chose to watch it all.
Sure, yeah,
but
I just haven't watched anything Pokemon like that in a long time. Honestly, I would probably say the last thing Pokemon related I watched was a rewatch of the original movie. So, and that wasn't super recent, but I'm just saying that's probably the most recent thing I have done.
I think my recent one was, maybe some of the X and Y series, I want to say.
Sure.
Okay.
But both Concierge and Horizons, right? Yeah. Both of them, like, I'm intrigued. I will say that.
Agreed.
But it's just, it's not something that I'm like required viewing at this point.
Now, will you guys check out Concierge? Because it's probably going to be a self-contained thing that Netflix throws on between Christmas and New Year's.
Well, since Alec doesn't have Netflix, I assume his answer is no.
Yeah.
But again, if people are like, this is actually surprisingly good, then yeah, I'll give it a try. But it's just not something I'm like highly anticipating.
I probably will eventually whenever I do get Netflix for like a month or two. Sure. Whenever there's enough on there where I find enough value that I'll use it.
Gotcha.
Because that's the main reason I just canceled Netflix, because I just wasn't using it enough.
Fair enough. Now, you can watch the first 10 minutes of the pilot to Pokemon Horizons on the official Pokemon YouTube channel. That's been out since the summer, I believe. But I would also say just check out the general trailers they've been putting out, because I've heard relatively good things. Like I've seen a few people that have been keeping up with the sub.
It has like
talk
an 8
about it
on IMDb right now for like the for the subs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like an 8
So
out
like
of
it's
10.
pretty good, and like, but it's not even the main trio that get me into it. It's like that older group of people that they're hanging out with that, like, to me look like I think I've described it before as like the closest thing we're getting to a Pokemon adventuring party from D&D, because they're just like a group of trainers that hang out in a fucking airship, and that was enough for me to be like, I'm watching this.
Sure.
That's cool.
That just seems
The
cool.
real question is, how is Captain Pikachu? Is that his name? Captain Pikachu,
Yeah.
something like that. How is he? That's what I want to
I
know.
hear is actually dope. I hear is
Oh.
legitimately dope, and they do a very good job of not just making him Ash's Pikachu, of like giving this. Of course, like the anime was always going to have a Pikachu in it somewhere because it's a
It's the
mascot,
mascot. Yeah, I get it.
and so but
Yep.
they from what I'm hearing, they do a very good job of making his personality distinctive. And from my understanding, or at least my read on it, is the guy who owns Captain Pikachu, he also owns a Charizard. So I'm thinking he's maybe supposed to be a kind of stand-in for the older Gen 1ers, kind of like
Gotcha.
he's that dude. But like,
Is it just Mr. Pokemon or whatever the fucking name is, and it's like Asheville grown up or whatever? Wasn't that a thing?
no,
Did I imagine that?
Mr.
there's
Pokemon, that was
is
in Gold and Silver.
yeah, he's the dude that like you have to deliver the things to.
The Pokemon
But
fan club guy. I know there was this, like a theory that like Ash
there's
is all grown up or whatever.
you're crossing two different people,
Am I?
because the Pokemon fan club was in Vermilion City in Gen 1. Mr. Pokemon was the guy you go at the beginning of Gold and Silver.
Yeah, that I already
And
established that maybe it was the fan club guy, but it was just I
Gotcha.
understand those aren't the same person.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was something about like Ash is definitely like there's like references to that being Ash or
Yeah,
whatever.
No,
Yeah.
this dude definitely is an Ash.
Gotcha.
I will say he might also have a Pikachu and a Charizard, because for some reason because they went, hey, Scarlet and Violet, Paldea region, take place in a school. This Pokemon anime will follow this girl going to a Pokemon trainer school
Mhm.
in Kanto. For some reason. So it's another
Is
one
that
of
true?
the yeah, I swear to God, she is in
course.
Kanto for this.
I
And
mean,
it's like, you guys keep creating these beautiful worlds, just keep bringing us back to the one we've seen 100 times.
that kind of
Yep.
speaks to me a little bit. I'm like, oh, it is okay, cool. So,
All right, so Austin's definitely checking it out.
I'm in.
And the other quick icebreaker I was gonna do, and I don't believe this is an icebreaker we've done, but it might be a conversation that we've had, maybe on camera, off camera. I just want to know, what is everyone's opinion on the whole Pokemon nickname? Like, I remember that was a conversation when Arceus came out. Do you guys nickname your Pokemon?
I don't. And I think that's just because I grew up watching the anime and Ash referred to all his Pokemon as the name. He was like, go
Yeah.
Pidgeotto or
Mhm.
go Caterpie, go Butterfree. And in my mind, that's just how it's done. Like, it's not is this right or wrong? It's just this is the only option. So, like, nicknaming to me,
Mhm.
the only time I have ever nicknamed was it would be my starter, and that's it. And it was when I was really little and stupid and couldn't come up with anything creative, and I chose Charmander because duh. And I was like, "Your name is Flame. I'm the coolest motherfucker to ever walk on this planet."
We're so lucky that was before online services, because how many kids would have gotten to that before you, man? If they're like, Flame
Everyone.
is already taken. Did you try XX
Did you
underscore Flame
Flame
XX
101 on a
underscore?
Tuesday or some shit?
Yeah.
For me, for a while, for the longest time, I didn't. Then as I started getting into like watching Let's Plays of Pokemon and all that, I was kind of dabbled with nicknaming Pokemon, but I just never got anything like that creative or that good that really stuck with me. So once about Sword and Shield came out, like the games on the Switch, I just kind of went back to not nicknaming anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a time where I think I nicknamed specific Pokemon like in my box for like organizational purposes. But
See, I do.
Gotcha.
I named the boxes where I'm like, usable,
yeah,
Wonder Trade,
and I did that too,
legendaries.
but I don't remember what the use case was, but I know for a fact that I dabbled with some kind of system with
Mhm.
nicknaming specific. I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but for that use, I think I did dabble with nicknaming, but it was never
Gotcha.
for Pokemon I was genuinely using.
Yeah, I've only nicknamed purposely 3 Pokemon, which is a shiny Arcanine I got in Pokemon Go, nicknamed RK9,
Mhm.
like an R, a K, and a 9.
Nice.
My first shiny I found outside of Pokemon Go, which I found in Let's Go, which was a shiny Metapod evolved into a shiny Butterfree that's nicknamed
Ooh.
Vicroy, because I went on Reddit looking for nickname help, and it was about like the Latin name of this butterfly with green eyes, and shiny Butterfree has green eyes. And Bolthound from Galler, the little electric
Oh
dog,
yeah. Yep.
nicknamed him after High School Musical protagonist into Troy Bolthound.
That one was just a fun one. That was just a fun one, right?
That was
Yeah.
that one was for
Yep.
me specifically.
That was just a fun one.
Yeah.
I'll say one time I do remember nicknaming something was kind of in the early days of Pokemon Go when you could do specific nicknames for Eevee to kind of force it to a certain
But I would always
evolution.
change it back after.
Exactly.
I think I did the same
exactly.
thing technically. So
Yeah.
there's one. But
I have been seeing on Instagram reels of oh man, it would actually benefit me if I could find the channel. So I'm gonna try to find this real quickly. But it's a father and daughter, and he's posting reels, but I assume they're doing this on Twitch, where his daughter's like young, kind of still learning how to read, so she can't be older than like 6 or 7, playing Pokemon Fire Red, and he's just sitting with her, and she's nicknaming. So she has a Bulbasaur named Pizza.
hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That's great.
Her Pidgeotto is named Sandy because it learns Sand Attack. And her Jigglypuff is named Vampy because she saw Jigglypuff's mouth, thought it was a single fang, and went, "That's a vampire." And it's the most adorable thing I've seen because you also see her like learning to read and the dad helping her like with the reading.
That's really smart. I like that a lot. I'm into that. Like if that is the use case, then yeah, I'm all for that shit. Of course.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely. For this, I'm like, yo, you nickname every Pokemon you want, little girl.
We stand Vampy, all right?
Oh yeah.
we stand Vampy in this house.
Yeah.
But you brought up, this is off topic a little bit, but you brought up Let's Go. Let's Go is the game I think about and don't play a lot. Like Let's Go pops up into my mind a lot. I'm like, that game was really fucking good.
See, I don't know how to explain this. Something about Let's Go felt so fast that I'm like, I feel like if I booted up Fire Red or like a ROM hack of that went, like, let's say it was Kanto, but like in the DS games, like you actually went through it. Whatever. If I played through the Kanto games, I feel like it would have taken me twice as long. There was just something about Let's Go that felt so
Let's
quick.
Go honestly might be like the answer to this question of like, what's the perfect Pokemon game? Like for me personally, Let's Go was really, really close. Like I really enjoyed Let's Go. And I think it was one of those things where going into it, my expectations were like, oh, hey, we're just getting like a throwback. That's awesome. And then it was just really quality, especially for a Pokemon title. So yeah. Anyway.
Speaking of Dream Pokemon game, this is, of course, the last one of our little core Elite Four's Dream games. And last but not least, today we have Alec's Dream Pokemon game. So, Alec, we're done with the icebreakers. It's time for you to take the reins and let us know, what is your Dream Pokemon game?
Tell me.
Okay. So I figured, we're going to start a little, kind of just give you the premise. The ultimate game made for Pokemon fans of all ages. Think a mainline game packaged with a stadium game, where the main game has difficulty modifiers, both easier and harder, and options for making it infinitely replayable. The game also makes making content around the Pokemon game easier, as a majority of the community challenges can be done right in the game.
Like Nintendo would ever make content creation easy.
He said dream game. He said dream game.
That is true. Yeah.
So if you go back to Chris's episode, the last one that was up, you probably can see a moment when he's talking about the difficulty modifiers. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Because like a lot of like, I literally, because there's a point where we weren't sure who was going to pitch their game that episode. So I was starting to write mine before we were recording. I literally did the difficulty section like right before the episode. And so literally almost beat for beat, almost just basically put what he had in his in mind, because it was almost beat for beat the same.
And the editor is going to do that right now. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No. So in mine, there'll be basic difficulty options, easy, normal, hard. But for those who want even more of a challenge, the fan favorite Nuzlocke challenge is now incorporated into the game. Is if you don't know
is it called?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Just because that's what everybody knows. But if people don't know what a Nuzlocke is, it's essentially you can only catch one Pokemon per route, and if a Pokemon faints, it dies.
It's dead.
And
oh my fucking god, he fucking dead.
So one thing I actually like in I'm gonna be referencing a lot of like fan made and ROM hacks, or fan made games and ROM hacks in this, but Pokemon Emerald Rogue, which is like a roguelike game, but they have it kind of a Nuzlocke-ish kind of thing. You don't necessarily have to catch. You can catch multiple Pokemon per route, but if a Pokemon dies, it is just gone. It deletes it from your party.
Permadeath option, yeah.
Not even an option. Like I don't think you can take the permadeath away. That's just built right into the game.
I remember playing. Yeah, I remember you telling me about it, and I got lost in it for like a bit at a point. And I remember there being so many options you could turn on and off to like change the difficulty or whatever. So I don't know the how 100% how the permadeath works, but it is the default option. I know that.
Yeah. So like it's like it dies, it faints in battle, and you cannot like if it has an item, you can't get that item anymore. It is just gone. So you can't cheat the Nuzlocke how because in a Nuzlocke, what a lot of people do is they have like a box in their PC that's like the death box. They just put the Pokemon in. So basically, it would have that permadeath option, so you couldn't cheat the Nuzlocke. Another way, the Nuzlocke option stops you from cheating is that it literally you can't once you catch a Pokemon in a route, you can't catch another. Like it doesn't. You literally like it doesn't. It basically won't let you throw a Pokeball.
Damn.
Let's see.
As soon as you catch a Pokemon, your arm's just snapped right in half. Just
right. But still looking for a bit more of a challenge? I got you.
Oh god.
The Nuzlocke mode comes with difficulty options too. So right now I'm kind of thinking normal, hard, and then like an insane / like ultimate difficulty. Basically like or what some people do, they call it a hardcore run, where you can't heal in battle.
Jesus.
And then there's the other thing with hardcore mode too, that they set it to there's the set option.
Yeah.
Where basically like the default option is like when you defeat a trainer's Pokemon, it'll say like, oh, they're switching to so-and-so. Do you want to switch? And it'll give you the option where in a set, they just send out the Pokemon and then you have to switch if you need to.
I don't turn that off during gameplay, during like playthroughs. I'm like, if that's the default, then that's how Arceus intended this game to be played. God damn it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, because that is the harder difficulty option because that's how competitive battles are too. So,
is this
not sure what the
you're gonna get into more of this obviously, but is this the crux of your pitch? Is like the difficulty? Is that like what you're leaning to? Okay.
Oh no, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Well, then I'm excited. Please continue.
But so not sure what the difficulty options really entail, but I feel like Black and White, they had those difficulty options, but you had to beat the game for them to unlock them. Whereas mine, they're going to be available right from the start.
Well,
so yeah, no need to beat the game to unlock any difficulty options.
Nice.
So now into the game modifiers and modes. Right. The randomizer. Everybody loves a good randomized Pokemon game.
Makes for great videos.
It does. It does. So I'm thinking more so there's a program that a lot of people know, or a pretty popular one among the Pokemon community called the Universal Randomizer. Mm-hmm. And from that one, you can basically randomize anything from a Game Boy, like Gen 1 Game Boy game, like Blue and Red, all the way up to, I think they can even do 3DS games now.
I think there's a different program for the 3DS era games.
No, it's the same.
Really?
Like you have to get it from the GitHub page. They've updated it, kept updating it.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, it's you can update or randomize, and it goes like into the nitty gritty. Like you can update if you're playing an older game, you can update base stats to Gen 9. You can randomize base stats, abilities, evolutions.
That's too scary for me. Like I can't. I was like I don't want to have to. One, I don't want to have to learn a new. Like, and I'm not trashing you. I'm like, whenever I see streamers do that, I'm like, I don't want to have to learn a new type chart. Hey, what do you mean I can't Google?
Well, no, it's not.
I'm gonna have to just figure it out.
The types are still the same. It's just like let's say just Squirtle is now an electric type.
That's gonna fuck me up even more because I can't Google like when you're in battle.
It doesn't like invent new types. It's just it shuffles around the types.
I haven't done Nuzlocke ever because I'm too much of a coward. But
same.
You mentioned evolutions. Is there any of them that like your evolution can just fuck you? Like where your Squirtle evolves into, or I'm sorry, like your War Turtle evolves into like a Rattata or whatever, and you're like, cool.
Yes, no, seriously. And then
I've seen streamers do.
I didn't know
the
if that was already
Pokemon
a thing, is what
evolves
I'm getting
every level into a
Oh,
random
yeah.
Pokemon.
Yep.
And so they'll be like, "Oh my god, it's a wild Mewtwo." They'll cast a Mewtwo. It'll go up one level, and yeah, it'll become Magikarp.
at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, it's
funny.
one of those like you can randomize so much. Like I said, the base stats, you can randomize what move categories each are. So like Earthquake, a physical move, it could become a special move now. You can randomize move types, the trainer Pokemon, the wild Pokemon, legendary, like static Pokemon. So like in, let's just say Gold and Silver, instead of getting Lugia or Ho-Oh, you could get Mewtwo and Dialga.
Now, in your game, if somebody was to do the default options, is this a new region? Is this an existing region?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I'm getting there. Because we're still in the modes. We haven't even gotten to like the main thing yet.
Okay, and tell me if you're going to get to this one later, but also like the randomizing aspect. I guess this will be with the region thing, but like existing or new Pokemon decks.
I get it.
Okay.
It's existing. It's existing Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
I didn't come up with any new ones because
I wouldn't expect you to make them up, but just the implication that this would be like a new decks for this. Okay.
I mean, it could, I guess, technically, but it'll kind of make sense in the way that I'm making the story of the game.
Okay.
Why there's not new ones.
I'll let you do your thing.
Yeah. But yeah, basically more universal randomizer and less the randomizer in like Radical Red that just kind of randomizes Pokemon. So you just have like the more fine-tuned options. And then the one thing I really like, or a couple things I really like with the universal randomizer is that you can like get a seed for your randomizer settings. So that way you can essentially like if like you're playing a Let's Play and then you can give out the seed and then people can play along with you essentially.
Oh, that's fun.
And then it also generates like a log file, so that way you can go through if you do like one of those crazy like ultimate randomizer, like everything's randomized. You can see kind of like what's what, and so you're not completely in the dark. So yeah, in terms of they're also going to be multiplayer. So I'm thinking co-op. This kind of traditional play through those stories together in battle. Then there's a couple more community-made game modes or kind of Nuzlocke variants. So there's a Soul Link, which essentially it's basically a Nuzlocke, but you each only catch, or the Pokemon you catch their primary typing can't be the same, and you can't repeat same typings throughout the party, primary typings throughout the party. So like you can't link a Squirtle with a Totodile. Sure. Because they're both primary water.
Sure.
Yeah.
And but
Soul
same
Locks are
Nuzlocke
ones I'm truly too cowardish to do. Then someone else's Pokemon's also my responsibility.
Exactly. Because yeah, if so, then you're playing with somebody, and if their Pokemon dies in battle, you can't use that one anymore because they're dead because they're linked together.
No, screw that.
Yeah. It makes for great content.
I'm sure. That I agree.
Yeah.
Because you're in the middle of a tough battle and it's like, oh yeah, I just lost a Pokemon and you can't use your best Pokemon.
God damn it, your pussy ass Pidgeotto died, so now my Charizard. God damn.
Yeah.
God fucking damn. Just rage quit.
But now kind of I don't say reverse of that, but like another one fan favorite called the Cage Lock. So essentially it's like a Nuzlocke variant, but after each gym, you have a one-on-one battle. And there's usually like perks involved. Yes, and Pokemon, a fist battle, Austin.
No, you have the trainer battle, and then after it's done, you have to physically fight the trainer.
I do imagine that people who get into fist fights in the Pokemon world, like that is like truly the ultimate like fuck you, because it's like no monsters. Like it is truly man versus man. Like
unless you're Ash fucking Ketchum, who squares up against the one and only Mewtwo. You haven't faced me yet. Turns hat backwards.
But then Mewtwo's just like barrier.
Dude,
boom.
I don't care. And in that moment, I was like,
skill issue.
I'll never not be a fan of Ash now, but go ahead, sorry.
Right. And then just a couple more modes before we get into the main game.
Hell yeah.
There's just a versus. A versus is just play through the Nuzlocke rules obviously apply, but it's basically just get through the game as quickly as possible, faster than the other person.
Speedrun.
Yeah, basically. And then one of my favorites is the Wonder Lock. So basically, Wonder Trading's in the game. So you do a Nuzlocke, but instead of you catch the Pokemon as like a token, and then you just Wonder Trade it off, and then whatever Pokemon you get Wonder Traded back, that's the Pokemon you use in your party.
Yeah, those ones always seemed fun.
Yeah, I've seen some doozies of that stuff. So yeah, those are fun.
Oh yeah.
I've seen also people do from before Wonder Trading was a thing, or I guess right after, but before, like people could like mod their or stream from their 3DSs was egg locks, where they would have fans create a Pokemon egg in a Pokehex and send them the file with the nickname so they can't tell what Pokemon it is. And so for every Pokemon they catch, they exchange an egg, take a step, and then they have to.
Yep.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Most of the eggs hatch after like a step.
That's
usually
fun.
they set.
Yeah, they use like a cheat code to essentially, or part of the randomizer to you can make eggs hatch quicker.
Make it 1 million. Oops, sorry.
Right.
All for like some mid Pokemon egg.
Right. You now have Eradicate. Cool.
So, now we got all the modes and difficulty options out of the way. You know, like the stuff you see when you first boot up the game. It's time to talk about the main game.
Big home screen.
The traditional Pokemon game.
It's time for the steak and potatoes.
There's a big big home screen on this motherfucker. Like all these options.
Oh yeah.
Are you getting into the title?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't do this to you during yours.
That was a genuine question. We're 26 minutes into the goddamn. All right, I just wanted to know what it's called. Go ahead.
You're only about 10 minutes into mine because Jordan wanted to talk about the Pokemon shows.
Yeah, and I like talking about that. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, so I'm done with the two games. We're going the single game because this is a big one. You know, it's a big cartridge. Okay.
Chunky.
Art style and graphics, we're thinking open world, that kind of Scarlet and Violet, but like better because it's not running on the Switch.
Okay.
It's not the art direction you're changing; it's the fidelity.
Basically,
did we ever? Yeah. And this is more of a me thing. Did we ever establish what our games would be running on? Because I think that is kind of important.
No.
Okay, I think that is kind of important,
but my essentially like. Switch 2 were better, essentially. You know what I mean? Something that you can actually get good textures and good performance, smooth performance, you know, solid 60 frames kind of a thing.
This is exclusive to the Steam Deck.
Right? In terms of gimmicks, I'm thinking keep Terra and Mega Evolution in the game. Sorry, not sorry, Z moves and Dynamax. Mainly for just balancing because Z moves and Dynamaxing are kind of just broken.
Yep.
And you have, in terms of all the gimmicks, if you're having them all together, one aspect, you can't Terra a Mega Pokemon, just because that would just be broken. Again,
is that another Nuzlocke randomizer you could have? Just all gimmicks kind of a deal?
Oops, all gimmicks.
I didn't do that. No, like I said, I didn't put Z because Z moves can like it's just insane how powerful they can be.
And I'm just thinking chaos, man. That's all. That's all I'm going for.
Yeah.
So Smogon National Dex allows you to have one of each, except Dynamaxing as a whole is banned. Dynamax and Gigantamaxing just as a whole. So you are allowed up like one, and you're allowed to have more than one. Like you have one Z move, one Mega, one Terra Pokemon, and obviously can't be the same one. Yeah. So like that is, I guess, the closest to like an official answer I can give as to how people who actually play metas like this deem that to be broken or non-broken.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because Dynamax is like, it's just, like against the others, you just don't stand a chance.
It was like a weird mix of both.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, rather than one move, we'll let it last 3 turns, but the increase you're getting is closer to a Mega.
Yep.
Or surpasses a Mega, I think.
Yeah. And then Megas are in the game mainly for randomizer reasons because you know it is so hype when you just come across a random Mega Metagross in the wild.
Sure.
There's gonna be 8 gyms. Before the player starts, they get to select regions they prefer the leaders of.
Ooh.
Okay.
So that way, in terms of the the whole randomizer infinite replayability aspect, let's say you can choose any of the 9 generations because kahunas and trial captains are included in this too. So
fair.
Do you might get into this, so I apologize. Do
Hmm?
you get into like typing for the like you can't go like all gym leaders are have the same type? Like main type?
If you really wanted to, I guess, but like that would that's kind of make it too easy.
I'm basically trying to picture how the UI is for when you're selecting it. Like, is it by type? Is it just by region? Is it by?
Oh, it's by region.
Okay.
And then like you just basically select if like, do you want gym leaders from this region? Like you don't actually get to pick what gym leader.
Ooh, okay, that's kind of what I wanted. That's what I was asking.
Yeah, you're not customizing all 8. You are choosing which set.
I thought it
you're fighting.
I thought it was you could pick all 8.
Well, no,
that's on me.
So you get to pick like what regions you prefer to be in the 8. So like you can, so it'll be, let's say you choose Kanto, Johto, Sinnoh, and like those 3.
Mm-hmm.
So then from the 8, it'll use those 24 like gym leaders.
Sure.
Okay, so like you'd have Brock, but then you could have Morty, and then you could have like Maylene. No, that's Hoenn, I think.
Regardless.
But regardless, yeah, you got the concept. Yeah, so like you can choose from those like regions, and then that'll like filter what gym leaders you have.
Yep.
And yeah, like I said, gym leaders were randomized to incorporate the aspect of infinite replayability.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you can choose, and if you do just choose one region, that's what gym leaders you'll get. And you can take on the gyms in any order, and their levels and amount of Pokemon used scales to your level.
Hell yeah.
Or current team and badge count. Because I had originally just current team, but then I realized like, if people take, their weak mons and, they're on their 8th badge. Make it easy. Yeah. So it's like, it scales to your current level, but also the amount of badges. So if you have 7 badges, you're going to be having a tough fight.
Come with four level 12s, but you have 7 badges. You're like, well,
exactly. So now for the story. Grand Tournament is being held in a new region based off the continental U.S.
I love a good tournament.
Chose the reason due to many different climates and landscapes and close proximity to New York, aka Unova. Starters are Totodile, Thwackey, and Litten.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to. I tried to keep it the primary, just the primary types, but then I looked at there's a lot of the fire types have dual typings, so it was just kind of one of those like,
Yeah.
Didn't want to have 2 from the same generation, so it was just kind of like, Litten, sure. Evil team is Plasma, and they disrupt the tournament by trying to break Getsis out of prison, because this takes place essentially, because I did a little reading on the lore, and it kind of takes place between black and white and black and white, or black and white 2.
Okay.
Team Plasma is led by the 6 remaining sages from Black and White, and I haven't quite fully fleshed it out, but my thought is they could be potential like mini bosses between each gym.
Yeah.
I like that.
And you have a potential. Another thought I had was a potential team up with Looker / International Police doing double battles if they're needed for pacing.
Ooh. And
the final boss will be a gauntlet of the Shadow Triad and Getsis battles.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
So kind of like they broke them out of prison, Area 51, Route 51.
Nice touch.
yeah. I just came up with that up on the fly.
I like that.
So the Elite Four, you beat them, you beat the 8 gyms. Elite Four is made up of the previous player characters, with the champion being the rival from Gold and Silver.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Okay. I like that a lot.
Because this tournament is just, like I said, this is a grand tournament, best of the best. Mm-hmm. And you get kind of a whole full circle moment of, because I think we've talked about before and previously, the rival from Gold and Silver having that moment with Giovanni and wanting to become better. Mm-hmm. So what a better moment than him being the grand champion, and you have to beat him.
Do you envision the Elite Four being the final thing you do, or does the story take you there and the final thing you do is like after the Elite Four? Does that make sense? I know you said like the final boss.
There's more.
Okay.
There's more.
Okay.
There's more. I got it. Okay, post game, but yeah, like this will be like the final thing. Yeah.
Sure.
And I say at easier difficulties, Elite Four would have type themed teams, but in harder difficulties, they would have the type varied / type balanced teams, just because they are the previous player characters, so their teams would be more diverse.
I like that being
kind of in the lore.
I like that to differentiate them for easy mode. I like that a lot. I think that's a smart choice.
And then champions always have varied type balanced teams.
Sure.
So
Yeah, I've thought about that recently. Like, I don't like when the champions have a type specialty, because it's like, well, then I can still, yeah, you could build a good monotype team, but there is still going to be the very clear holes that you have by having a monotype team.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah. So yeah, once you beat the champion, you do become the grand champion of this grand tournament that's being held. I don't have a name for the region, but I'm sure we'll get that at some point. But for the post game, after you win, there's a cutscene, and you get a call from Professor Juniper saying to meet her in Unova and meet her at Castelia City. Once you get there, you get a Gen 5 starter. And you can challenge the Gen 5 gyms with updated teams. The trainer or the gyms get up to Generation 9 Pokemon. And if you got like a Gen 5 gym leader in your a main game, there'll be some special dialogue that you get, kind of a little banter back and forth, like, "Oh, hey, you got me in the first time, I'm gonna get you this time," kind of a thing.
Nice.
And same goes for you go through the Unova region, you get to their Elite Four and the champion, which in this game I'm choosing Alder. Sorry, Alder's better than Iris.
Alder is also better than Isis.
Very true.
No.
Very true.
Lots of things better than Isis.
Yes,
that's also true.
So that is kind of the main game. I don't know if you guys have any questions so far before we get to the stadium.
The person you just mentioned, not Alder, but was that mentioned to be the right?
No. She is in the champion in Black 2 and White 2.
I just meant, did your game have a rival throughout your journey? Is pretty much what I'm asking.
Yes, okay. I did. I forgot to write that down, but there was supposed to be kind of another person kind of rivaling you going through the tournament with you.
Does he through the tournament arc specifically?
Yes.
So when you get near the end is when he kind of shows up. Or
no, he's still going like doing the tournament with you. Like,
so because I'm only asking because you said there's like the 8 gym leaders, and then you have like the mini bosses in between that were the sages, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I envision the rival being a battle like every couple gyms rather than after every single gym, something like that.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I think even in my mind, older games, you don't necessarily, even most Pokemon games, you don't really fight your rival after every gym.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying for pacing wise. Like, if you did it after every gym or whatever, I'm just making sure that would be a lot.
Yep. Oh yeah, for sure. Alrighty. Jordan, anything from you before we move on?
I'm good right now. I want to hear about the stadium side.
So, stadium. So I guess in terms of UI, my thought was kind of cliche, I guess, but I couldn't really think of any better way to do it. But kind of think you like those like collection games that you get like the little splash screen of this game or this game.
Yeah.
So like you kind of get to choose between the main one or Stadium.
Okay.
So Stadium, I think it's basically Pokemon Stadium 2, but modernized. Rental, you get Pokemon from generations 1 through 9.
Ooh.
Best part, you can customize the movesets because the Stadium movesets were absolute garbage.
Yeah,
no, that's
and
true.
it makes
you can keep them if you want, but if you really like, you want to get competitive and get good, you are able to customize the movesets.
Now, is it just you can literally go in? It's like Pokemon Showdown. You customize them the way you want it, or is it you bring them in through your save file?
Both.
Hell yeah!
Because you have your rental Pokemon from all that you can do throughout the game. And then, that was my next talking point, is that you can bring your team over from the main game.
Hell yeah.
And you can, much like, I think in some of the Pokemon games, you can actually save like different battle teams. You can do that in the main game and then have them use those teams in Stadium.
Yeah. Just like another option on your PC or whatever. Just like
basically, yeah. Like Battle Team 1, Battle Team 2, blah, blah, blah. But yeah. And then can, like I said, can save multiple teams and access Pokemon from the main game PC to battle in stadium modes.
Okay.
Obviously, the previous Pokemon Stadium games, they would have higher fidelity graphics and animations compared to the main game counterpart. And of course, the mini games return.
That's what I was gonna ask about. You tell me about these fucking mini games.
So you get all the classic ones, obviously, because I mean they're just throwbacks. Like I gotta have those.
No
but
new ones.
I have Jordan. Come on.
Now we're talking.
Lay it on me.
So I just last night I just went through, literally just scrolled through the Pokedex. I'm like, okay, what Pokemon would make for some good mini games? So I got a kind of a long list, so just bear with me.
I'm ready.
A lot of these are just kind of like Pokemon and match up with kind of a game that I thought could work well. So got a Ludicolo / Toxtricity rhythm game.
Ooh.
Okay.
A Spinda Spot the Difference, because the lore is not one Spinda is the exact same.
Yeah.
So you can have them like kind of close and like spot the difference. Find the Kecleon, because they're always known for going invisible. Obstacle course, rolling a Spheal. Honey collecting with Combee.
Oh, I like that one.
Any Weasel / oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just any excuse to get Combee in there. I like Combee a lot.
Gotta get respect for the male Combee, because they ain't evolving.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Just like me, for real, bro. I also peaked as a child.
Oh no, poor Combee / Jordan.
Got a Weasel / Floatzel water race.
Ooh.
A Drifblim.
Sorry, I just thought of like the race from that short film. What the short film that comes before one of the movies? But there's a race.
No, it's not the short film. It's the opening to because I fucking love the song.
It's essentially a short film.
It's the opening to the Latios movie where their Ash is on the
mine's way older
on the
than
shell. Oh, okay.
I'm thinking of the one where it's just the Pokemon, and it's like Pikachu.
It's before the first movie.
Yeah, it's Pikachu racing on the back of Squirtle, and I think the opposition is Raichu on top of something. It might be the first movie, but it's like that thing where they all get like lost or whatever. They might be the same one where like Snorlax protects them from the storm or whatever. But anyway, I picked there's something that I think Alec picked on a little bit, but anyway.
I was thinking of the race from the beginning of the fifth movie with Latios and Latias, when it's like Ash and Misty, and Ash has Totodile and Misty has Corsola, but they're not on the Pokemon. The Pokemon's like on a leash and they're standing on a shell.
I remember that too, but no, I'm talking about the older movies. They would have like a little lean in
Pikachu shorts.
Yep, Pikachu short, and the one I'm remembering is like the Pikachu versus Raichu. That was the crux of it. And anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to disrupt, but you said that and that popped in my brain again. I'm like, oh, that'd be a cool mini game. But anyway.
Yeah, continue on. A Drifblim floating race, kind of like one of those, like, just floating up through the sky because it's a hot air balloon.
There's one in the background stealing a child.
Right. Don't wake up Musharna, because it's a sleeping floating Pokemon. Destroying concrete with Conkeldurr or Conkeldurr. Fishing up Basculin. Because there's a whole bunch of different color Basculin, so each of them could be worth a different amount of points. My thought there.
Got to throw in a fishing mini game. I'm with you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a must.
Another one I had, I couldn't really think of anything, but I thought it'd be cool, is something with illusions with Zorua and Zoroark.
Sure.
Because they're always known for being the illusion, their ability. A Flabebe and Vivian color matching game, because they're all known for having the different colors. A Furfro cutting / trimming game, because they have known for the different fur and their different styles from X and Y.
Hell yeah.
Honedge, Aegislash, Sirfetch'd, and Ceruledge Fruit Ninja-esque game, because they all have something with swords.
I like that.
A Goomy Slug / Slow Race, because it's basically a snail or slug.
Sure.
Spooky Phantom / Pumpkaboo game. I feel like it'd be a fun one there. Chargebug battery charging game.
Okay.
A Crabrawler fighting game.
Ooh, I like that.
Oricorio Simon Says, because there's I think 4 different types, so each player could be a different version of it.
Like that.
That's really smart. I like that one a lot.
Mudsdale obstacle course / race. This is one of my favorites. Pessimian bowling game. because he's the little monkey that has like the coconut that he's holding.
Yeah.
So this is another good one. I forgot about this one. A carcoal minecart racing game.
Ooh, like you're on the track kind of a thing.
Like, yeah,
I like that
because he's literally like a minecart filled with coal. So yeah,
I'm with you.
And yeah, find the Poltergeist, because he's just a little dude that's kind of in a teapot. So you got to find he's kind of going between the different ones, and you got to find which one he's in. I don't have the full kind of concept for this one, but like, you guys know the Pokemon Morpeko? Yeah. He's got the 2 modes, the hangry mode that he's like all purple, and then he was like the Pikachu for was it Gen 8?
Yeah.
For like an eating / not eating game is kind of something I had thought for that one.
That's a good one.
A Spidops web weaving game.
Wow.
A Whack-A-Mole with Tinkaton. And the moles could be Wiglet / Wugtrio.
Love that.
A Varoom and Cyclizar race.
Ooh. Is it not Cyclizar? Do I say
Cyclizar?
Wrong?
I thought. What did I say?
Cyclizar. Like Sick'em.
Cyclizar. What?
Well, Paradox Pokemon.
I was genuinely asking
because
Pokemon are Pokemon, man. It is what it is. But
I just said it weird
You're
for
good.
whatever reason. I normally say that, but my brain just like, hey, let's say it this weird way when you're actually recording.
Was there?
It's going to be on there forever.
And I'm going to be the one to just point it out.
I like to pronounce Pokemon like it's a prescription, like Cyclizar.
It does sound kind of like a medication. Now that my camera's just blurry now. Is it blurry for you guys?
Yeah,
yes.
It's payback for making fun of you. There we go.
Now we're real close. You're about to give us a little smoochum right there.
Was there two more?
Okay, go ahead.
Last one is last one is find the Houndstone, because he can be like kind of like buried underground and because he has the tombstone for the head.
I forgot about that.
And then an Iron Bundle present game, because present is the move that you can either hurt you or heal you. So just give them do presents.
Was there ever a like Machoke and some other fighter buff guy like arm wrestling one? I think that'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of fun.
But see, that's why I didn't do that, because we haven't had a stadium game for gens 3 through 9. So that's why I stuck to those generations.
Sure, I see what you did.
Give them some.
Just do a different buff character, and I just think it'd be really cool to have in the background like a line of like buff like fighting type Pokemon like waiting to go next, and they're like side like I think that'd be a cool like I can picture like the arena of that.
It's like that classic painting of like is it Spider-Man and Venom or Spider-Man and Batman arm wrestling at a bar, and like everyone's watching.
Yeah, but Pokemon.
Yep. Just a couple of last things. Gym Leader Castle makes its return along with the fan favorite Mount Battle from Pokemon Coliseum. Nice. Which, if you don't remember that's kind of like essentially it's like the 100-man melee that Super Smash Bros. Has, where it's just a gauntlet of 100 battles.
Really cool. I never did get through that.
No, I never did either. And then the last thing I have is Wi-Fi battles are essentially done in stadium rather than the main game, just because the better graphics and animations.
Well, I'm sorry, I missed that part. Jordan sent a link, so I clicked on it. But what did you just say, Alec?
I said Wi-Fi battles are done in stadium rather than the main game, just because that has the better graphics and animations.
That makes a lot of sense. I think that's smart. Oh, this was unimportant at all, Jordan. Thank you.
I'll say, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binaries, I present to you Pokemon: The New Frontier.
It's a pretty good title. It's a pretty good title. It kind of writes itself.
I like that,
because it's the the continental U.S. So the New Frontier, the front.
Yep.
And I feel like it also works because I feel like the little like cities they made for Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 feel almost like precursors to what a Battle Frontier were, where it's like these different buildings have different battle modes in them, and some of them are non-traditional. So I feel like the New Frontier actually makes so much sense, and I love that.
It writes itself, and I'm mad that I didn't come up with that like in the middle, because I was spitballing some ideas because you weren't giving us the damn title. But yeah, I think you nailed it. I think it's a good title.
Thank you. When I sent you guys, because I know you guys were recording last night when I was working on this. When I sent you guys the message, it was when I thought of like the whole Team Plasma and like Unova tie-in because of the continental US.
Yeah.
oh, I'm cooking. In our group chat that we have for this podcast, I sent him like a gif of like a guy cooking and a bunch of flames come up. It's like, oh, you guys aren't ready.
We weren't ready. New frontier, baby.
No, that sounds so fun. I like the you're connecting it to the old, but it's new. I like the emphasis on battling and this customizability, this difficulty.
I like
think
go ahead. Sorry.
I just really like that. Like, yeah, rather than like force, no matter how tough it would be for like the power creep, force 1,000 Pokemon into one region. You're like, nah, like you don't really know what the regional dex is, but it doesn't matter because you could really just randomize and everything is still in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I like the emphasis on being like, there are so many people that like the Nuzlocke stuff. Like there's a huge community for this. So like, why not lean into that? I don't understand why they haven't already in a sense, but it's
just making it easier for everybody to do this because it's always such a hassle. They make it such a hassle to have to do all this stuff. Like people have like coded new programs just to make it work for these games.
Like people are passionate enough about it to just do it themselves, and then
exactly.
So if they were to just do that, they already make so much money off Pokemon the way it is. But like, just think if they actually leaned into that, like your idea would make so much money.
It's like I think it's like they don't want to promote Nuzlocke as like an official way to play the game because it goes against everything that
and I understand that, but I think if they paint the picture correctly, we're like, for those who want it,
like like an extreme difficulty mode, like the same way like there's permadeath in Last of Us, but like, the most people aren't playing with that on.
Exactly.
Anyone playing Nuzlocke is like, no one wants that to actually be what Pokemon is, like base game. No one wants that. They're just like, I am so tired of not getting the Pokemon game I want. This is fun. This is exciting. This is different.
It's another way to play it.
Exactly. One that it forces you to use Pokemon you probably didn't think of or even consider before.
And it's just chaos. It's just straight chaos. So like that just adds another element.
Part of the randomizer.
Yeah.
No, I'm not honest enough to follow my own self-imposed rules like that. I would be like, that's fucking bullshit. He's living.
And see, that's why I put that in there for people like you, because that's
I would find
fun of it.
I would find as soon as something like that happens, like it's my guy, right? It's one I've been rocking with for like, I don't know, let's say like 5 gym leaders, right? And I finally lose him. I'm like, nope, narrative reason why he's still alive. Back at like fucking Route 3, we found this stone, and that rock wasn't just a rock, boy. I've been keeping it in my inventory for who knows why, some dumb shit like that. Like no.
It's also just sometimes with like in-game playthroughs. I noticed because I just finished up an in-game playthrough of Black for the first time, where it's like you're sometimes just. It's not that the game itself
the hit
is
game Black for PS2.
Yeah,
sorry.
It's not like that. The actual game itself is designed so hard, but it's like, oh, this battle had a few twists that I didn't expect, and my Pokemon are still kind of stuck to whatever moves they could learn at this level, and it's not like they're accurately bred or EV trained because I can't control which Pokemon I'm going to fight in trainer battle, so I'm not. And so like it just feels like, I feel like with most. I feel like the average Pokemon game is a decent challenge. I just know now, I'm going into the electric gym. Let me start with the people who are going to have the resistances, the immunities.
The beauty about Pokemon, like even, and I'm glad that Alec has all these difficulty options and randomizers. I think that's really smart. The beauty about Pokemon is if you want to make it harder, it's so easy to do that. Like you can just go in with a different team that is going to make it slightly more difficult, and then rock with that team and be like,
that's what I do. I don't optimally team build. I go with the guys I think are cool. Let alone in an older game playthrough. It's like, well, I have HM slaves on here. Bro.
I do that as well. I do the exact same thing, Jordan. I'm just saying the beauty of Pokemon is like the way, and maybe that's why they don't lead in a difficulty like that. But the beauty of Pokemon is if you want to make it harder, you can. Like absolutely, you can just kind of do that. So
although with the main Pokemon the way they are now, it's like the harder difficulty options would make the AI like actually pick good moves.
Sure,
not just like. You know what I mean? Like, because there's all the times where it's like, oh, they have the type matchup on you, but they pick tackle.
Yeah, the thing,
hydro pump, like,
and I jumped to conclusions there. The thing I'm not talking about is like you would have to trial and error this shit to get it to like the difficulty you want with the team.
Absolutely.
So like that's the problem. That's what difficulty options like this and randomizers eliminates. Like you know exactly what you're getting when you make this selection.
Yep.
So. But yeah, I think that's. But I think with your options, with your randomizers, the general Pokemon fan like me, I would say like what I want out of a Pokemon game is just a smooth, fun experience where like I sprinkle in the challenge, make me kind of think a little bit. But I just want that cool ride to the top. You know what I mean? Like I like that journey. Then there's the in between where you want a little bit more challenge, and then there's the people that are like, I'm fucking a lunatic. Like I want this shit. I live for this shit. And then
I've seen
your game is like offering all of those options and everything in between. That's what I'm getting at. So
wild.
And that's why I wanted to make sure I specified the starters, just because that's part of being part of the main game. Like if you the default experience.
I had to look up Thwacky. I'm not gonna lie, and I was right. I was correct. I was like, is that motherfucker? But I couldn't remember because his name gets me every time for whatever reason.
That was the starter I picked for Sword and Shield.
It was mine too, but I thought the starters in Sword and Shield were kind of ass. So like, even though that's the one I chose, I was like, oh, I don't think any of them were great. So.
Yeah. Thwacky's the second stage though, right?
No. Well, maybe.
Oh, Grookey. My bad.
Maybe that's why I was confused. Shit.
Grookey.
Yeah.
My bad.
Maybe that's why I was confused, because like when you said Thwacky, I was like, wait a minute, is that the guy that I chose?
Cool. That name's cool. Okay.
Thwacky's dumb as hell. I'm sorry. Thwacky and Grookey. What's the final evolution? I don't remember.
Rillaboom.
That one's cool. That one's alright. I'm okay with Rillaboom, right? But
no.
I did not like how they had occupations. But we're getting off topic. Sorry.
That's funny. What's funny is I almost made one of the icebreakers. I was like, what's a starter trio you would make for another Legends game? Like pulling from other starters. But you gave us that anyway.
Ooh.
Yep.
Keep that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, well, that one's in the back pocket for sure.
Yeah,
and
like that.
With that, folks, with Pokemon The Final Frontier, or The New Frontier, which one is it?
New Frontier.
Pokemon The New Frontier.
Right.
It's not Star Trek. That wraps up Shared Screen's Elite Four's personal dream Pokemon game, but we still want to hear from you. And so that's why we're going to be getting so many fun guests on. And if you have a dream Pokemon game, reach out to us, follow us on Twitter, leave a comment, all those stuff. Turn our notifications on. That's not going to get you on the show, but that will get your notifications on for us. And you won't miss an episode.
It could get you on.
Until then, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.